Well, a very good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back out to Luna. Are you guys having a nice day at sea? Yeah, nice and relaxing, I hope. And I also hope that everybody also ate lunch before you came here, because if you didn't, you're gonna be really hungry, I'm just telling you. But thank you all so much for coming this afternoon. We have a panel up here that are true culinary and creative experts, and I cannot wait to hear everything they can tell us about the fantastic dining we have here on board. So I'm gonna let you all introduce yourselves. So if you could tell everyone your name, where you're from, what you do for Disney Cruise Line, and how long you've been with the company. I'll let you start.
Perfect. Welcome. My name is Daniel Cowan. I've been with Disney now 25 years. 18 years of those with onboard operations. So actually I opened all 5 ships. And I'm in charge of, with the team, of course, dining standards and service excellence training for the team in hotel. Nice to meet you.
Good afternoon. My name is Vanarsdall, and I have been with Disney for 22 years, the last 8 of which with Disney Cruise Line. And working with Daniel, I oversee the dining front of house operations for the casual dining areas.
Good afternoon, everybody. Everybody ate? Anybody bring me some chicken fingers? I'm starving. I didn't have lunch. My name is Salah Chetbi. I'm the Beverage Director for Disney Cruise Line. Welcome to board the Disney Wish. So, you turn, Steve.
Thank you very much. My name is Steve Walker. I'm the Culinary Director for Disney Cruise Line. I'm not as polite as my front of house colleagues are all very, very etc. But yeah, I worked for the company for 20 years now, actually going on 20 years. Worked all the ships, and now I'm originally from Scotland, live now in Winter Garden in Florida, and obviously we're all based in celebrations, but welcome everybody.
Thank you all so much. Thank you. Now, before we dive into the individual restaurants, I would love to talk about what family dining means to us here at Disney Cruise Line and take us through exactly what rotational dining means. Who'd like to jump in?
So I can start. So I'm sure all of you have sailed on our fleet of ships, and rotational dining is one of our core concepts that has worked very well for us. So we continue to evolve that. So basic concept, we bring our guests on board and you move from dining room to dining room every night. Here of course we have 1923, Arendelle and World of Marvel. The unique thing about that is that your service team follows you. So really, our goal is to build a true emotional connection through the cruise, number one. Number two is to get to know likes, dislikes, dietary preferences, etc., so that you're not having to repeat yourself through the cruise. You build that strong bond, and then that follows you all the way through. And what we found, we have many guests that actually will book their cruises based on when a particular server is on board. So they request particular individuals, just because then they can come on. They don't even ask for a menu, they say, just take care of me. You know what I like, you know what I don't like. And that's what has proven successful, so we want to keep that part while we do change the restaurants themselves. So, yeah.
I think one other nice thing to add to that, we have a lot of servers that have been with us for quite some time, and they've had an opportunity now to see our guests as their children have grown up, and the children now have children. And just walking around the ship, walking in the dining rooms, you can see the connection there, and just that relationship that's been built over the years.
Yeah, it's so true. I hear it time and time again from guests when they come on board, and they talk about the connection that they have with their servers. And I think that connection really elevates that guest experience. And speaking as a crew member, it really elevates our experience as well too.
And I think one thing that's very different, when we go out and we recruit for our dining teams, if we wanted the best servers in the world, we'd probably go out to Austria and Switzerland and hire, true professional trained servers, but we want personality, we want that connection. And our crew, honestly, they are fantastic at that. So it's combining that with the elevated service. And, it's a balance, right? And that's what we try and achieve.
Daniel talked about the emotional connection. Some of you may remember the movie Ratatouille, when he go eat this wonderful ratatouille and he go down when he was young. So one of our guests really, when they go to some restaurant, they connect with that food and it's emotional. And trust me, in all my life with Disney Cruise Line, I saw some people crying by eating of food. And I never seen this before. When Ashley asked about the family dining, don't forget the family dining is also, you can go to the premium dining. If some parents have an 18 years old, can go to Enchente and the Palo steakhouse on Watershed. So the family dining is not only having you 4 or 5 years old or the room service and going to this wonderful restaurant like World of Marvel, Arendelle, and 1923, you still can bring having a family experience in our premium dining.
Yeah, and we're very, very fortunate here, obviously, because our main dining, our rotational restaurants, we follow the story, right? As you can see, each one's individually themed, and we have a lot of fun. We got a really, really great culinary talent and culinary team that develop and spend a lot of time developing, tasting, and refining the experience before it goes into the locations. And the main thing for us is that we marry what we put on the plate with the story, so it makes sense in the restaurant. And I think you see that in 1923, and then you go to Arendelle, you can see that it really kind of matches the location that we're in, and it tells a story in itself with everything that we present.
Yeah, so you know what, let's go ahead, let's deep dive right into those experiences in each of these rotational restaurants. So let's start ahead in Arendelle, a frozen dining adventure, because this is the very first time Disney has ever had a frozen themed dining adventure. So what can our guests expect there? What are they going to experience?
Can I sing the song? No,
definitely not. Nope, not today.
So I think, as you know, on the Disney Magic and the Disney Wonder, we did retrofit Parakeet, one of our classics, into a show dining restaurant. We have Tiana's place on Disney Wonder and Rapunzel's on the Rapunzel's Royal Table on the Disney Magic. So our guests ate that, and it really truly is a great dinner show experience. So what we had the opportunity to do here is purpose build the dining room as opposed to retrofitting it. So having, how do you call it, stage in the round, is it?
Yes, it's theatre in the round.
Theatre in the round, there you go. And all the production, lighting, theatre quality, speakers and music systems, and all built into the dining room is it's a unique first for us. And I'm sure a lot of you have already been, but when you combine the friendly, emotionally connected service, great food with that storytelling, and a true world-class show, I mean, it is beautiful. And there aren't many places you can go out and get that combination together, with the quality of the food, the service, and the show. So I think it's working very well. Obviously, we're celebrating the engagement. So guests are actually a part of that as well. And I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but Oaken is the host, and Olaf plays a very large part. And the Olaf we have on board is just unique. I mean, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, I won't ruin it, but it's truly spectacular what the team has been able to achieve with that. So.
It's amazing. You talked about that marriage of the entertainment with some spectacular food. Could you go into a little bit of the concept of creating this menu and some of those signature dishes that we can find in Arendelle?
Sure, well, thank you for saying that. It's very nice to pay the compliment. No, like I said, I mean, we've got a great culinary team, and we're very fortunate because our other ships have cruised that area, the Baltic and actually up the coast of Norway. We're familiar with it and what we did and what we've done. For that particular restaurant, we really looked and took the best that we could find, and we have great suppliers and vendors also, and what would suit our guests, and we have a real good feeling. Our guests give us great feedback of what their favourites are, where they want to go with that, and what they want to see on the menu. So we looked at that, refined it for our guests, and then obviously there is a process. It always takes about 3-4 months of development. What I mean by that is that it's not just obviously coming up with the menu, it's a 700-seater restaurant also. But we want to make the experience individual for everybody, and it should be. And so there's a lot of thought with that, and I work very closely with our colleagues with table flatware, and obviously just the way the table looks before the food gets there as well, so that is all done. And they can speak a little bit more to that.
We always agree on everything.
We always agree on
especially
everything. Especially with the plates.
Oh, I'm sure.
But that's another thing that you'll see is that everything is designed specifically and created for each location, right? So it's not just off the shelf; it's created right there. And then, of course, most importantly as well for us is the food, And there is a process for that. We'll go on, we'll create, and we write the recipes, and then eventually it's the training on board with our teams on board. And we'll do kind of display presentations and tastings, and then we'll do dummy setups and run-throughs before we get to the first evening of the service, which is always an exciting time in our lives. And I would say most importantly is our server training also that we do. So that's sort of all these things are happening, and then it comes together, and that's one of the locations. But that's going on in 3 locations at the same time. Okay, sort of hand in hand to get to where we want to get to.
So just jumping onto what Steve said about the tabletop, that was a really fun piece in designing that especially for the ship. But there's a lot that goes into it. We've had numerous meetings with many different vendors. We all have samples sent to us. I mean, it's quite a process, but we hope that you appreciate, really just the little individual pieces that you might not even notice at first, but that tell the full story of each of the restaurants.
Actually, for the last 2 years, everybody was sending samples to my house, Kelly. Could you get them back, please? One thing I want to say, Daniel mentioned about Arendelle, and he invited me to have that experience, and he gave me a table right by the stage. And when you have Anna and Elsa singing close to you and walking around, you still be very emotional. I think the family and the kids, everybody going to connect to that. And I said, Daniel, but you give me one of the best seats. Do I have the same connection at the back? And we sat down everywhere, and in the restaurant, really, you can see Anna and Elsa from every seat. So thank you, Daniel, right? I'm looking forward to have the same experience at World of Marvel.
Very good. And as you know, in Arendelle, we actually have the walkway where Olaf he is able to go around and reach out to all corners of the dining room, which is great because, again, that's what's worked for us in the past. But it's hard. When you have 694 seats, some are better than others, right? And we do consciously try to make sure that every single guest has that quality experience with sidelines. We try to put we only have 8 side stations in the dining room. The rest have all been, put away so you can't really see them. And, to bring Olaf around is a unique opportunity for him to reach those other areas. So.
Yeah, it really is such a special partnership for a complete dining experience in Arendelle. And Salah, you mentioned Worlds of Marvel, which is a completely, totally different experience, but equally amazing. Who can tell us about the concept and design for that dining room?
I can do this all day. Some of you may get it, some of you may don't. Daniel, please take it away.
So, World of Marvel again. So when we look at Arendelle, actually, let me finish, just wrap up Arendelle. So the goal with the real entertainment and dining combined, we want to get in, take the orders at the beginning, and then we kind of want to step back and let the show take over. So small things, for example, you won't see servers coming offering crushed black pepper in Arendelle, because we don't want to come every 2 minutes and pepper. So we put it on the table. We bought the best pepper mills you can buy, and guests can help themselves. So that enables the servers to step back and not be as intrusive during the show. So with World of Marvel, it's a similar concept. As you go in, you really don't see any server stations. It's all about the screens. And again, we learned a lot from animators' palette. And truly in World of Marvel, there is no bad table. Nobody's fighting for a window or getting near a screen, because every single table you can see the full show. What's unique and exciting, it really takes you into the cinematic universe, right? And you become part of it as well. It's interactive, and we were out looking at all the mock-ups and everything years and months before, but the first time we actually sat and saw guests' faces when they saw it, it's just spectacular, because you get completely absorbed. You forget where you are. You're just so engrossed in the actual story that you become a part of it. So it's fantastic. And again, we kind of go through the same process, matching the tabletop items here were a lot of fun. So we really, at the beginning, we wanted kind of glass and concrete and metal and different things. We wanted to look different than any other dining room. So as you come in, you have a metal charger plate with the big A on it, which is your bread and butter plate, right? We've never had a metal plate before, kind of, and just different things like that to make you feel like you are somewhere unique, somewhere different. And again, a lot of fun, a lot of time and energy partnering with not just WBI, who really help us out a lot, but also Lucasfilm and, you know, Marvel Studios, you know, for all the different areas we've been working with, you know, we have to get buy-off, you know, on all of those things as well, so.
Yeah. No, and with regards to the menu, you know, as like I said, we are very fortunate because of the story and the guideline, but it's different, right? Because obviously the worlds of Marvel and the Avengers universe it's you know, it's huge, and so like where do you start and what's the guideline for the menu, and also to cater for a 700-seater restaurant where there's something for everybody and options there, and so we refine the menu that way, so it's fun, all right, because it's a fun place to sit. It guides on the show, and also the dishes are broken down into certain areas of the Marvel universe as well as we see in the menu, and it all makes sense. There's nothing on there that shouldn't be there, and each one has its individual story to tell, but it has to be fun and accessible because that's the type of place that it is. So.
We work very close, Daniel just mentioned, working with the Imagineers and of course the Imagineering team. We were very close, so the synergy there was very strong. You work with Marvel, food and beverage, Imagineers. So on the table, we have a quantum, and of course you're going to be part of the show, so you're going to see that. However, we have this creative element that to create a quantum sipper, and of course it's unique to that shape. And we will be creating more quantum sipper as we go on with the new movie Wakanda Forever with the Black Panther. So we will create a little bit story through the element that you have on the table. So I highly recommend you to try one of them to see. I saw some guests walking around, and that probably is going to be one of the highlights for our guests cruising on the 14th of July.
One of the great things too about both the entertainment and the menus in, you know, Worlds Marvel and Arendelle is you don't have to be a subject matter expert on that. You don't have to even be familiar with the Marvel films, and you're still going to get so much out of that experience. And the same goes for the menu. I think, you know, we have a little bit of something for everybody. We have those, you know, big hearty dishes, the lighter offerings, the opportunity to try things that you might not normally try, and it just really fits the palate for all family members.
No, it does. And so walk me through maybe some of these epic drinks that we have and some of these fantastic desserts, because I'm hearing like sundae and donuts, and I'm hearing some really great stuff from this. He's nodding right here. You've eaten there, haven't you? Yes, he did.
Well, we do have a little technical problem in the restaurant. Obviously working with PIM technology and all the particles, sometimes things get blown up and sometimes they get shrunk, and all I can say is the donut sundae is really cool. Presentation, taste, it's fun.
But I had to take it off first.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll let Salah talk about the beverages.
Well, you may order martini 16 ounces and you will receive like this 1 ounces martini that you may send back, which is okay. No, there we spend a lot of time creating drinks for World of Marvel, and we wanted to change a little bit and to be a little bit more creative. So the approach for that restaurant that we wanted to talk about Wakanda. So you may be one of the highlight beverage drink that we have. So we have a gin and a vodka and a rum from Africa, all right? And it's a wonderful gin. And the gin, as a matter of fact, when you pour it, is red, and you pour the tonic, and the drink becomes black. So it's a very good experience. But we wanted to create something that not only represent, of course, the Ant-Man and of course the world of Marvel, but we wanted to give to go all over the MCU world and to represent all those wonderful drinks. But again, the signature drink for that place, it will be the Quantum Sipper, and it light up. And the drink inside, I highly recommend you because we're doing it with Pop Rocks. So for the kids, what you're gonna have, some of you will remind you again that emotion and connection. When you have Pop Rocks, for the adult, they'll say, okay, this reminds me when I was a kid. But the kids would love that. So there, it would be like, you know, like for something spectacular in a show that nobody ever seen in any one of the park or any shape.
That's so true.
Yeah, and talking, going through some of the dishes here, obviously, you know, we have like a palm heart ceviche, which is kind of cool because it's with an infinity stone popcorn, if ever you know the movie. And I'd say if you serve that anywhere else, you go, really? But it makes sense in the location, you know, so that's kind of a cool fun thing. Also the bao buns that we do, which we've never really served here before, and that's actually just a pork belly which has been brought down and then marinated a little bit of orange and also mirin. and honey, and it's baked out, pressed, and then finished off and crisped up on the grill. We actually carve that just before service so we carve and actually finish the 5 ones and serve. And we'll serve quite a lot of them actually, about 120, 100 up to 160 portions per sitting, just about one thing. Also we have a great udon bowl as well, which is new to us, which is pure vegetarian dish on there. And I must say, all our menus do feature now and this is going generically from Marvel, is plant-based offerings, which is important to mention. And also we have plant-based offerings up, as you know, in the Marceline Market as well. So that's something that we're continually evolving into and continually offering as well. And we have a couple of great chefs that are working on that and to enhance those offerings as we go forward for all our ships in the fleet also.
Oh, very nice. Well, we've hit 2 of the 3, so let's move on to our 3rd restaurant, 1923, which of course is celebrating the wonderful legacy of the Walt Disney Company. Could you take us through a little bit more about that restaurant?
Yeah, so 1923, we call our elegant dining experience. We try and have an elegant dining experience, a technology dining experience, and an entertainment dining experience. So, 1923, obviously, the year Disney was founded, takes you back to the golden age of Hollywood and movie making, and through the dining room, actually even before you enter, you can see a lot of the drawings, you can see a lot of the molds and mock-ups, and it's just a real tribute to Disney movie making through the years. So some of them are older, some of them are slightly newer, but as you walk around the dining room, it is very unique. The other thing we've done very different on this ship in both 1923 and World of Marvel, we've taken our huge 694-seat restaurant and we've split them in 2. So you actually have the Roy Disney and the Walt Disney side of 1923, and we've then further kind of tried to break it up into more intimate sections, just so you don't feel like you're in a huge kind of cruise line dining restaurant, right? And it's when you do sit in there, it is a lot more intimate, I think. So that's where we really don't infuse any entertainment technology. We want guests to sit there and enjoy dinner just as a family. You're going to have one night where you can sit and talk, right? So that's really the space for families, just to connect. And we there want to be more refined with the service. So we may come and ask if you would like that pepper with every course, right? Exactly. So, I don't know if you want to add.
I think you covered it all.
I understand was here, right? No, it's awesome. I mean, like I said, it's 1923, and again, it's a great guideline for creating a menu also, and pays tribute to our California Heritage Company, and what a state to get inspiration from, right, from top to bottom. And so, I'm sure if you haven't had an opportunity to dine in there yet, I love the restaurant. I love the way it's been made up as well. It feels very intimate. But when you walk around corners, as you said, it's huge. It's still a big space, and we do practice 2 sittings in there. But some of the menu items, we have a great Vanarsdall salmon, which is actually, just finished just before service, obviously, and we'll serve that medium well, and then that's served with Californian honey parsnip puree, but also with it's like a bouillon-based base, which is that we just reduce that down so it thickens, and that adds a little bit of sweet and sour to the actual salmon dish, which is very cool. Other great dishes on there, the tuna, which is great. And if you notice on all our restaurants, main dining restaurants, I should say, we do have little accent plates on the table as well. It's not everything is served on the same tabletop. So to show an example, we've got this lovely dark black dish that's served on porcini spice with a little bit tuna, and then we have some seared oyster mushrooms brought down with a bit of yuzu, some Japanese mayonnaise, pickled daikon on there, and a little bit of wasabi, and that's just a nice appetizer before you go to the rest of the meal. So it gives you an idea, sort of, when we take inspiration from there. Plus, I'm sure the beverages down there, which I know are amazing also.
Let me take you a little bit behind the scene. First of all, in 1923, the restaurant started in the ground hall. So a couple of tricks that you can do, you can take some pictures of the prop. In 1923, if you see left side and right side, I recommend you to take some pictures because there's some hidden treasure as props there. 1923, as you know, it's an elegant restaurant, and again, taking you behind the scene, how we created the cocktails. So if you go to Arendelle, we're going to take you to that destination. And we're going to take you to that destination, you're going to try 2 adult cocktails and a 0 proof cocktail. When I call 0 proof cocktail, add a non-alcoholic. Of course, why I call it 0 proof? Because you're not going to go to an adult and say, would you like a mocktail? You know, I mean, it doesn't make no sense. So we call it the 0 proof cocktail. So you're going to go to the 3 restaurants, and of course, there you're going to have 2 adult cocktails. 1923, we sat down, and I had so many glasses in front of me, probably. I wanted to see different kind of glasses, and the inspiration down there was Hollywood, that Daniel mentioned, but it reminded me of the Great Gatsby. You know, I mean, in the old time when they used to drink those martini, those little liquor, little classic, the Boulevardier drink. So the simplicity cocktail, but high quality, and where the people felt good about it. So when you go to that restaurant, I think you can feel it, and you can order those drinks, and you can feel it from the glass. So let it you behind the scene again. So we decided the glasses first and create the cocktail later on. That's what we did in the beverage. Thank you.
Oh, that was fascinating. That's very nice. Well, you know, let's continue the legacy of our Walt Disney Company and moving on to our casual dining in Marceline Market. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind some of those food stations and the dining room itself?
So actually the theme of Marceline Market was, based off of Walt Disney's childhood home, and really, it has inspiration from a lot of the urban food halls that, WDI visited them throughout the country, and really just looked at what made sense in that area. And we wanted just to create an experience that was a little bit different for our guests, and I think that everything came together perfectly. And even in those areas, even though it's, you're going to go in with your bathing suit on after going and spending the day at the pool, we still put a lot of thought into the plates and the mugs and everything that we have up there as well, just to, again, create that seamless experience that's going to follow it throughout.
Yeah, and I love it. I love the area upstairs. I think it's beautiful, and I think the actual the dishes are actually made up behind and then served to you as well. I think it's great. Makes a big difference. Means the food remains presented really nicely throughout when you walk through. So and also we like cooking on stage, right? And and we want to try and make everything as fresh as possible in front of our guests when we walk through. So, and with regards to the individual stations, obviously breakfast, as you know, there's great offerings there. I mean, there's a wide, huge variety upstairs available to order. But we do, but we really go with little accents around of different smoked fishes and a little deli station at the back and things like that. But we do have all our American favorite classic breakfast offerings up there also. And then for lunchtime, as you've seen, we take our inspirations where we have some Mediterranean themed food. We have our slightly different, a tandoor that we have upstairs that we'll utilize and was on for today. We go down and some other selections of ramens and I should say stir fries and things like that and woks. And then you go around the back. We've got great pastry department on board. And a really good corporate pastry chef. He's very particular about making sure everything's very precise and clean, as you probably see when you walk past there. So there's a great selection there. That changes every day, and there's a wide variety that changes every day. And then at the aft end, obviously our seafood is very well known for us here at the cruise line. We have these big seafood bars with the 3 or 4 different seafood offerings every day. So I think it's a good space for us, and I just love the way it looks, and I like the way it's being presented as well. So.
Oh, absolutely, it's gorgeous.
I think a lot of the theming in there, we try to keep it whimsical as well, not too much, Disney kind of in your face, if you know what I mean. We want it kind of subtly to support behind the scenes. I think they've done a really, really nice job with that, our WDI partners, because you do feel like you're going into, one of the old food halls, and it's just got that little twist. You almost have to look to find some of the really cool, little things, right? And we've actually tried to do that in a few areas on the ship. So not to be so obvious, but to try and be a little bit more subtle in some areas.
It's also been great. We have the ability, to close off some of the dining sections. So we needed it for any particular reason or anything. So it's really given us a lot of flexibility amongst just even the dining room layout itself.
Yeah, of course. And this is actually the first time we've had a cafe right at the entrance of our casual dining restaurant. What can they find there?
Well, you have two menus, the morning cafe actually, and on the other ship, this cafe is at the back of the ship.
Mhm.
So we want to make sure that the people enjoy and they embrace the entrance of Marceline. So we create that cafe. You can have cafe lattes and espressos and a different class of wine, and of course anything you may need in the bar. However, this place, if you look at it, will be used also for special tasting in this area. So we may use mixology testing, we may use for tequila testing, for wine testing, champagne testing. The area is so nice and pretty, and it's very easy for the people to listen to the speaker and to learn something about wine or champagne.
Ooh, very nice. And of course, Marceline Market, apt there on deck number 11. But if you're moving forward, we have Mickey and Friends Festival of Foods. And I have to say, I actually had someone stop me already today that were really looking forward to those offerings there. They seem to be thoroughly enjoying it. You got to walk us through those.
Yeah, well, sure. Oh, Kenny, you joined it. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. No, I think again it's a great area for us here in Disney Wish, and I'm sure everyone's walked through it and experienced. Main thing for us is hot and fresh, right? And so we see the pizzas that the guys are making upstairs, the chefs. It's that we're trying to do everything as much last minute into orders as possible. There's nothing wrong with waiting for 5 minutes for great quality and something that's hot and fresh, right? So that's the whole idea about what we're doing there. But just going around, we have our cantina, obviously, this cantina, and then as you know, with the rice bowls and tacos, all actually by choice, and burritos. And then we move around, and again, I think the crew members up there, they get you through very fast with good quality as well. I think they've been extremely well trained, and then you go around the corner. Oh, by the way, we do have great condiments and hot sauces there, and salsas, as you've seen, which are a great addition. Move around to the Mickey Smokehouse Barbecue, and a very popular area already, for good reason, okay? And I can't go. You'll see that we actually smoke a lot of our items here on board. We have the ovens there, which we do that and can add flavour to that, to our brisket and our ribs, etc. And our chickens as well. Everything is smoked in the oven. And then you go around the corner and we have our cookies, which is made to order. Wesley made to order, but very fresh burgers and our traditional chicken tenders we've got to talk about. We can't have our top deck without that offering there, very important. And then our soft serve around the corner. So I think it's a good selection, but all big as well, a very busy area for us and popular. And I think, especially in our sea days, it's going to be a very popular area, and actually during the day as well, very popular area for our guests.
And also, if you haven't had the chance, make sure you experience Inside Out Joyful Sweets. So 16 flavors of ice cream, 20 flavors of gelato, 32 toppings. There's definitely something for everyone in there.
I will say that I was very excited the first day that Joyful Sweets opened up there. I think I tried a blueberry lime gelato on there, and it was amazing. It was absolutely incredible.
My favorite is the peanut butter and jelly.
Well, you just have to try them all. It's all about getting to experience everything up there, absolutely, during it. Well, we've talked on our main rotational dining, we touched on our casual dining, and of course we are known for our incredible premier dining. Let's start with Palo Steakhouse. Take us through that.
Steve, why don't you start with the menu? Because the food is spectacular there, you don't mind?
Well, thank you very
Thank you
much. That's why I always have Salah the right hand side with me. I love the comments, by the way, it's great. I pass them on to all our guys that do the real work, So, Palo, as we know, is a guest favorite on all our vessels, and we've just made a few additions. Firstly, I love the design of the restaurant. I think it looks fantastic, as do all our Palo restaurants on all our ships. But also, it's got that modern, fresh feel to it, and it just looks super, super nice. I think also the menu we've enhanced with obviously our steak offerings, as you can see, and the wide variety of steaks that actually we buy in fresh, obviously, and some downstairs obviously we'll cut, and that goes right through from our A5 Wagyu down to our Snake River Farms Wagyu, our 20-ounce porterhouse, which is aged, which features on our other vessels also, but is on here. And then, we have a couple of selections of prime fillet as well, where it's an 8 ounce prime, and then we also do the Snake River aged, I should say not aged, but Snake River tenderloin, which is a wagyu also. So as you can see from the selection we have is great. Also, I must compliment Salah, and I must say with the remainder of the menu, a lot of the items we didn't change drastically, because we know that these are our guest favourites as well. We didn't see any need to. Palo, we're constantly revising and improving and changing dishes as we go. No question about it. It's not standing still. But also we want to retain those guest favourites as well that our guests know and love, and they've given us great feedback on. So that's the whole idea behind the menu that we have. And I must compliment Salah and our team as well with regards to the flatware that we have there, and because I know they've been working very hard with our vendors and partners to create the flatware and the tabletop. It's fantastic.
Steve talked about the tabletop, and we encourage you to go up there and to sit. One main thing we decided to have this restaurant without tablecloth. So we purchased a high-end tablecloth. Of course, so talk to you about tablecloth. Again, let me take you behind the scene. You may say that look fantastic, but I don't have a server going to iron the tablecloth. I don't have the laundry to wash the water. So we talk about sustainability of the product, and we believe in this at Disney Cruise Line. So it's part of it. Most of the restaurant, premium dining, you're not going to see no tablecloth. Palo Steakhouse, of course, we do have Palo on the other 4 ships. It's the first time we call it the steakhouse. Elegant restaurant. The view when you enter the Rose, of course, I don't know if you're going to talk about the Rose at the bar, but stage 1 will be the Rose. You enjoy a nice cocktail with a wonderful view, and you enter in the Palo, how Steve mentioned, the modern cuisine. Creative cocktail, so we try to not do the same thing that we do in any other places on board the Disney Wish. We wanted to make sure that it's your destination. You enter Palo Steakhouse, you're going to Venice, you're going to Florence, you're going to Verona, you're going to Rome, to Italy. So we want to give you that moment that you're not traveling without a passport or a visa. You're on board the Disney Wish and you're enjoying that Italian experience. 200 different labels. We have great wine up there, great cocktail, some wonderful Amaro, very much the Italian experience. Wonderful grappa, again 200 label. Can I have a bottle of wine at $35? Yes. Can I have a bottle of wine at $100? Yes. Can I have wine by the glass? Yes. Probably we have 40 different glasses of wine in that area. Of course, it's an Italian experience, but could you have a wine that you had at Arendelle? Do you like your wine that you have there? You still can have that, right? The sommelier can go there and help you out. So taking you behind the seat, you're still on the ship, you don't have to take your car, you enjoy, you leave the children at the Ocean Lab. Again, you still can bring the 18 years old. The children in the Ocean Lab, they're not gonna call you back, trust me. You're gonna look for your children. And
don't worry, we'll
Ashley,
take care of them.
you
We'll
know
take
that,
good
right?
care of them down there too.
You know that experience, and
We
trust
got
me, the parents said, I didn't hear my kids from a long time. So that's it for me.
I think also for our premium dining areas, WDI did a fantastic job. While, as Salah said, we transport you into Italy and France, you still have that Disney overlay. And really the whole area is themed with Beauty and the Beast. And Cogsworth is your host in Palo Steakhouse, where you have Lumiere as your maitre d' in Enchente. So it's just a nice tie-in while still trying to keep the Italian and French flair.
You jumped the gun there. Ashley didn't ask a question about Enchente. So were you been to Enchente yet?
You could just, that was a great segue though. That worked fantastic. I love it. But no, jump right on over there, just as you said though.
Salah, please.
Look at this, everyone's so sweet, they're so polite now.
I can hardly pronounce it.
It's a
I
French
think we need
accent.
to French, right?
It's Salah's French.
No, some of you, again, I talked earlier about Remy on the Dream, and of course the Disney fantasy was inspired by the movie Pixar Ratatouille, and the chef was a big partner. And some of you may remember Arnaud Lallemand, who helped us to create the menu, and Scott Hunnell from Victoria and Albert at Walt Disney World at the Grand Floridian Hotel. So this time we tried to create something different, And of course, l'Enchanté is with Enchente, welcome, and of course, Lumière would be the maître d' there. So I encourage you to walk in, take the picture, but take the picture from the rows when nobody's around, because it's entering into a castle, so it's dark. I don't know if you've seen it, there's a hidden treasure for you. Lumière is hidden on the side. So when you're walking, it's on the side, you can take a picture of it. They take the picture on that side. Of course, the chandelier in the middle is 397 lamps, okay? And it reminds you being in the bottle of champagne. As you know, Mr. Lallemand, our chef, 3 Michelin chef, come from Champagne area in France. So we tried to create this for maybe the last 2 years, but it makes you believe you are in a bottle of champagne. So the bubbles go up. So you can go visit the great French restaurant. Again, it's like Palo Steakhouse, it's like Enchente. You don't have to go there and spend 2 hours of experience. You still can go to the both experience, have one entree, one glass of champagne, one glass of red wine, and leave. You can go to Palo Steakhouse, have a dessert with a nice amaro, and leave. You can go to Enchente, have a wonderful sea bass there, and have a glass of champagne, and you leave. So the restaurant is a fixed menu and a la carte menu. So like this, you can go enjoy the rest of the ship with your family, or eventually, hey, why not have a glass of champagne at the Rose, have an appetizer in Palo, and have your main course in Enchente, right? So, and you can have a dessert with Anna and Elsa and Arendelle. Trust me, you can do that.
That's a whole evening right there.
There's a lot of sitting down and getting up.
But no, could you? Okay, so I mean, Enchente, I mean, I know so many of our guests are looking forward to get to experience this restaurant and some of those fantastic dishes on there. Is there a little bit more information you can give us on some of those great dishes?
Oh, good. Okay. Oh, and you want to cover? Yeah, thank you very much, because I'm the chef and the maître d' too. So the chef create actually 2 menus. So we have the collection menu, which is cost $195. The collection menu, it's a surprise and delight from Mr. Chef Arnaud Lallemand. It's 10 dishes, okay? We're going to take you through maybe a caviar dishes with the potatoes. It's going to take you with the tomato flavor. And the tomato, some of you never heard it, and you can look at it, but he take the tomato and he make it like a garden. So he cook the tomato for 12 hours. So one of the dishes that you may have. Some other dishes, of course, he's doing his beef, he's doing his wonderful sea bass. You're really coming to the 3 Michelin star level restaurants. So some of you come from different areas. Think about, in the world, you only have 117 chefs like him. 117 chefs who have 3 Michelin stars. So he's on board the ships, you can pass by. You're the luckiest one. I encourage you to take a picture with him, to talk to him. He's a wonderful person. Also, you have a la carte dishes. So we're talking about a la carte and the dessert. I mean, David, earlier you told me, Salah, I had this wonderful dessert yesterday in Enchente. It's called the chocolate Louis XV. I'm not going to say exactly what he told me about it, but he loved it. And I know it's a wonderful dessert. Okay, so I encourage you, it's called the Louis XV, it's a Valrhona chocolate. So all those dishes in Enchente are made like if you go into a 3 Michelin star. I'm talking about the 195, of course you have another menu, it's 125 menu, a la carte, a fixed menu, you have 5 dishes, you can have a wine pairing, you can have eventually a champagne pairing. You may think that in this restaurant, both restaurants, you don't only go for dinner. Palo Steakhouse have, of course, a brunch that people can go for brunch. Enchente, guests can go for dinner, brunch, and a dessert experience. And trust me, we do have some guests on the Dream and the Fantasy, and probably some guests will do the same thing on the Disney Wish, going for brunch, dessert, and dinner. It's why not? You know, that's what's happened.
Oh, I love it. I don't know. What about you all? Are we hungry now? Yes. Definitely. Well, can you give a huge round of applause to our panelists today?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for taking the time to walk us through all of that. And of course, wherever you're dining this evening, I hope you have a wonderful meal tonight. I hope you have a great evening. And thank you all so much for coming. We'll see you around.
Thank you.